In 2020, only 29% of U.S. adults said they trust most news media. And 52% of Americans said they regularly encounter fake news online. So, if every other person basically is saying that when they're online, they're seeing fake stuff every day, that's not a good user experience.
Yeah. And I think that I think it's awful to just be honest. And what's happening is we have an attack that's happening right now in the world against public discourse on both sides of the spectrum. And what's happening is on one side of the spectrum, we're getting flooded with a lot of disinformation, which makes it really hard to have legitimate, thoughtful conversations with other people. And then on the other side of the spectrum, because we have so much of this overload of information, we're trying to find more ways to weed out and moderate, right? And then that ends up making people feel like they're being censored. So on both sides of the spectrum, we end up unhappy, and it's like we're eroding the core part of having a place to have thoughtful discourse as a community, because it's being attacked from both sides. And I think it all goes back to the cost of information that's really, really dropped since we had the internet. And if you look at it, like publishing 300 years ago, you had to have a printing press or whatever, like super expensive, or like you had to like handwrite your whole book, and that's super expensive. And then we had the printing press that dropped the cost, and then news press. And then when we had the internet, people used to say that they thought that we had pushed the cost of information down to zero. And I would like to say that I actually think we've pushed the cost of news even lower than that, like it's gone negative. And what I mean by that is you can see that in news that is verifiably false. So people who have a narrative to push that is definitely untrue, because it's so cheap to publish that information in a billion different places online and get that out there, they're actually causing negative harm to everyone else by spreading and I'm not talking about an opinion. I'm talking about things that's just not true. Just, 100% they made it up because they're, trying to sell snake oil or whatever it is that they're trying to do. And this has actually pushed the cost of information even below zero to being negative. And what we think a lot about is, how can we bring that cost back up so that it's not free for people to spam. And this spam problem is actually on any information network. So just the internet is experiencing it in news, right? But we also have spam transaction problems on the blockchain, right? Just like spam transactions in general are a problem. And if you don't affix some sort of marginal cost to that message that you're sending out there, you're going to get spam. And so I basically feel like our entire political discourse right now is under spam attack constantly, and has been for at least the last 5 years. And we got to find some way to raise that cost of news back up above zero.
So when you talk about getting that cost above zero, is it actually creating charging to post? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, you need that negative financial incentive, or are there other actions you can take that are non-financial but still potentially negative to the user that you can impose, or to the poster of the fake news?
So as someone who's played around with their fair share of bots and has written my fair share of bots online, and have done all sorts of fun things with bots in my younger days, I could just say that the way that you can increase the cost of distributing information online, the way that everyone does it right now, is you spin up a huge bot farm, and you all upvote each other's stuff, or you remake posts in hundreds of different places, and you just repost the same information from a whole bunch of viewpoints, and it looks like you're building momentum. And so if you look at networks that effectively attack this problem, they make it harder for you to create bots. And the way that they make it harder for you to create bots is maybe they want you to be verified on Twitter, or for instance, maybe you require people to go through a CAPTCHA check or something else. To maybe they have to have a subscription to post, or maybe they have to have Reddit has a whole thing and they still have a bot problem around accounts must be this many months old or whatever to post on this new forum. So there's all sorts of things that platforms are doing to combat spam already. So it would be even worse if they weren't doing it. But I think we need to do even more. And this is why I thought it was very interesting for Elon to really zone in on that problem of bots off the bat. And he was basically saying, we want to verify everyone on Twitter. And so just immediately what he was saying is, in order to make a post, you have to have some sort of reputation data attached to it. So when we think about it at Unstoppable, and when I think about it, I talk about what reputation data can we make a person attach to their profile that would increase the cost of them posting. Because if you want to post and you have to prove to post in a certain form that yes, you are a real human. Maybe if you're posting in New York, you have to prove that you live in New York, and you have to like also prove that maybe you're a nurse in order to post on the nursing forum or whatever. Like you have to go through all these different things. All of a sudden now, instead of being essentially free for people to post, maybe it's like $10, right? And that's because that's how much it would cost to buy it, on the dark web for someone to make a post there for you. And that's so much more expensive than the price that they're paying today. So I actually think that associating reputation data will help with this, bring the cost of posting online above zero again, which would help a lot with the spam problem.
You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the metaverse.